So these companies are dashing and bashing the share of American people right now, and expect American people to come back. Please come back after we treat you like shit. Please come back. Like this was just happening, and but we've been saying over and over again, Dr. Virginius and I've been saying over and over again, like people they want to go back to that shitty ass job. People fucking left the shitty ass. People came back and left. Managers are leaving. So what's happening with that, Dr. Virginius? What's happening with people?
Well, from my analysis, it appears that all Americans are lazy and don't want to work.
This is like the laziest story I've ever read, Dr. Virginius. These are like the
See,
laziest
just
people I
case
can
in point.
find. Yeah. So we found a story about the laziest people in America. Um, like changed by the pandemic, many workers won't return to old jobs. So this headline is really misleading. It makes it seem like they're just sitting on unemployment. So as soon as you see this headline, kind of like, okay, they never came back. So what did they do? But you got to get into this article, really show that people like literally life and death. So this picture's actually like more of kind of what the story's about than this weird many workers won't return to old jobs. I think Before I Die is really more what this article is about and some serious shit. But so it goes back to this thing. Like there's a wild card in a push to return to pre-pandemic life. Many workers don't want to go back to the jobs they once had. Oh wow, we have that story. So we're gonna talk about this one person, Nate. So this is the picture right here, and Nate right here. Nate Mullins quit his job as a bartender last November, and that's when the numbers were crazy, yo. Last November, yo, that was a dark time. So he was clashing with managers over mask rules, worrying that he would spread the coronavirus to his immune compromised sister. So Mullins' unemployment checks don't match what he makes at his Oak Harbor, Washington bar, but they're enough to get by while he looks for jobs that will provide health care and retirements. This opportunity to take a step back and really think about what you're doing really, really changed my mind. It made me think long term for the first time. So workers like Mullins are one reason U.S. hiring slowed in April. These people are like, you almost want to kill my sister. I got to rethink, what I want to do with my life. Literally, I had a job that wasn't totally okay with my sister getting sick and dying. So,
And, it's one thing. I think that these stories may or may not have a greater effect. We've been talking a while about food service workers for
yeah,
the most part, and how no one respects them but wants them to run back to not being respected. But everybody except me seems to love alcohol and those who are purveyors of it. So, how are you guys going to react to somebody who does not flip a burger but instead flips a liquor bottle? How are you going to react to him and his concerns about the Rona? He is getting unemployment, but not as much, and he's still not rushing back.
yeah. And I want to go to this next story of Sarah. She gave birth to a second child in February 2020. Woo, that's a time to have a baby.
Damn.
So she was on leave from her job at Victoria's Secret. Victoria's Secret had no problem to tell her to get the step in, which is another term for furlong. So then her husband lost his restaurant job. They sold their home, moved in with friends, and survived on unemployment insurance and fell deeper into debt. And then Victoria's Secret had the nerve to offer her a part-time job that would pay $12 an hour. They threw a pregnant woman out on the street and then came back. Hey, you want $12 an hour? That's the long
Well, I
story
wonder
short.
what they were offering her. I wonder what she was making before that.
If part-time for $12, what's the point even showing up?
Because wouldn't it actually probably cost her about that amount of money just to get to work? I mean, let's do the math on that, shall we? Because we're not
Part
talking
time.
about no 8 hour shift,
So
right?
part time in the United States, that's $20 and less. 20 hours or less is part time, right?
Yeah.
Or 35 hours. It's 20 hours, right?
No, I think less than 30 hours.
Less than 30 hours.
Yeah, I think yeah, less than 30 hours is considered part time.
So $12 an hour, $30. Yo.
All right. So if you were working 5 days a week,
Yeah.
maybe 5 hours, 70 cents. Okay, maybe she might make enough to get home, depending on where she lives. But I mean, the fact that this is even a conversation at all
Yeah.
is very, very ugly business.
So she got accepted to like a St. Louis program that offers career coaching, training for jobs in high demand, includes baking, healthcare, customer service, and technology.
So guess what? She's not going back to. She's not going back to retail.
Victoria's Secret, yeah.
Right. So because remember, retail employees also get a similar amount of disrespect from people who believe that they have a higher social standing than them. I mean, if they do have a higher social standing, it might be just a third of a rung up, not even that much. So, I mean, what happens when there's nobody to sell the Vicky drawers because they all went to do stuff that society felt was more honorable? Well, now
Yeah.
you don't have anybody to work the Vicky drawers store.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, like,
now
what
you
kind of
have to wear mismatched underwear for your husband that already
that's
lost
the thing.
attraction for
That's
you
the thing
5 years ago.
that's the thing about these corporations is like a woman's company, yet they drew a pregnant woman out in the streets.
They don't care. They don't. I mean, come on, son. You know how that goes.
Yes. So we have then we have Mark Smith Fast. I guess that's name Mark Smith Ass. Smith Ass. I wish
You
it was
just
Smith
want.
Ass. It's Smith Ass. He drove for Uber and Lyft for 4 years before abruptly quit last spring out of concern for his health. He has spent the last year taking technology classes in the federal worker training program. He's 52 years old, yo.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
that's
what did they all say? Learn to code.
he's 52, yo. That is brave to do that at 52, yo. Um, and this is the name. People saw,
Because IT is a young man's game. You and I both know that
yeah,
very
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. But this is how concerned, this is how scared people were for their lives. And corporations do not understand that literally people are making these decisions because of life and death. They're not making these decisions, they disrespect people and then expect to come back, in a life and death pandemic, you disrespect people.
I'm
You
going to
expect them
offer
to
a
come
different
back.
perspective.
Huh?
I'm going to offer a slightly different perspective.
Yeah.
All right. So I hear you talk about like people having fear, and
This was a
of
lot. Yeah.
course,
Yeah. Some of the people is
yeah,
fear. Like some of the
right.
examples is fear. Some of the example is like
But
the money,
but
you
but
know.
I'm going to offer a different perspective,
Yeah.
one that's a little bit more empowering. The rat race took a break for 16 months,
Yeah.
right? Not having to, trip over people. And, a lot of people have a lot of dreams.
Hmm.
People talk about the American dream. What ends up happening is you have these people that are donating their life force to the profits of Dunkin' Donuts and Foot Locker and what have you. You gave these people an opportunity. You gave them a window.
Let me give the next story after you. Yeah.
You gave these guys a window to get a leg up, to get to the next space in to get to that next stage of life. What I mean,
I mean, these companies.
isn't
And we're
that
talking
what
about
we, isn't that what we tell people in America to do?
yeah, and these jobs try to set people back. But
Yeah, they try to drain all of your time. The hours that the schedules that they give you are meant to soak up the best hours of your day. Your most productive hours of your day is soaked up by this low paying, low honor
yeah,
work. These people had more than a year, and now they're doing what you've always said that they should do: pull themselves up by
And
their
notice,
bootstraps.
like the stories in this article is actually people who were working at these companies for a while. It's not just someone that started working
Yeah,
last month or like a day before this person
those
started
people were
working.
in that hamster wheel for a long time.
Yeah, yeah, 6 years. She worked at Henderson worked at 6 years at Best Buy before, of course, they let her go in February, letting
Mm-hmm.
people out in the streets during the pandemic. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this is like people don't realize people were just let loose out in the streets with no safety net. At first, she focused on her schoolwork, living on unemployment checks and severance payment that gave her 10 weeks worth of pay. But soon she was anxious to work again and do a new job that valued her more, will make her feel better.
And now you got people who are clamoring for her to get rid of that job and go back to the other one
Yeah.
so they can continue to have somebody to shit on. Fuck them.
And now
I'm glad that she's done what she's done
she
with her
gets
life.
paid $10 more per hour than the 17 she made at Best Buy. So look at that.
Get your money, honey.
Yeah, yeah. So
Get your money. We
these are the
support
stories that
that over
happened in the
here.
pandemic. These are the stories that they're not talking about. They're just talking about all of this sitting around being lazy, don't want to do nothing. They're just sitting around and getting unemployment and sitting around and scratching their butts. No, people are fucking out there changing their lives right now, yo.
Mm-hmm.
And now you want to put roadblocks on that? Like, what do you think is going to happen? You already have people crazy in the streets already.
Well, if those people are leveling up, then who are they going to look down on?
you know,
I mean, who are you going to have to look? Who is going to be left for you to look down on if all of these people who you called lazy and shiftless and do nothings? Okay, those people went on and they furthered their education. Some of those people were in online education programs, the likes of which we've never seen the type of enrollment. And they were reporting back on that a year ago, last May. They were reporting on how many people had enrolled in all kinds of employment related programs. Now they're not burger flipping material anymore, like you say, does not deserve an honest day's pay for an honest day's work. You don't believe that those services deserve that kind of honor, so they went and they leveled up. Now you don't have anybody to feed you your garbage. And also, not just feed you your garbage, but they're also not there for you to spit on as you look down your nose at them. What are you going to do now? Because as we've already reported last week, you don't want your kids working at such a place because that would be undignified.
yeah. And I want to give another story. Because that's the thing. They sick is teenagers with these jobs. Like, if you're 57, working on a bar, you're not doing it because you want to do it. You're doing it because to survive. And after a lifelong career as a bartender, 57-year-old Ellen Booth was in constant pain from lifting ice buckets and beer kegs. But without a college degree, she felt she had limited options. So when the restaurant she worked for closed last year, she said she gave her the kick I needed. And she started a year-long class to learn to be a medical coder. Like, look at that. So you throw people out in the street and people are finally like, now's the time to live my best life. Fuck these bars. Fuck that shit. So
Word up.
so that's the positive side of the dash and bash. People, this is the stories like we keep saying that they don't want to talk about. They're not talking about these like stories, life shifting stories that if we give these people, imagine giving people more resources, a little bit, even a little bit slightly
Then
more.
who would you be able to look down on?
And that's just off of 2 stimulus checks and $300, $600 last
And
time.
a year and some
That's it.
time.
And look what
And some time. And remember,
imagine
don't,
it's a little bit more. Imagine,
don't discount what I said
Yeah.
about the pause to the rat race being probably one of the biggest factors to so many people being able to lift themselves out of the minimum wage conversation. Having a year to learn something like medical building, medical coding, yeah, we're not talking about Einsteins here,
Yeah, yeah,
but we're not talking about minimum wage workers either.
yeah.
So what ends up happening when you give America, and I never want to hear from you motherfuckers again about how lazy Americans are. Americans are 4 times more efficient. The production is
The
up
productivity.
4x over the last 45,
Yeah,
50
yeah. We're
years.
working way harder for way less now.
And you gave America 1 year. And these motherfuckers went from being looked down upon to being basically looking you directly in your eye. Perhaps even some of us are looking down on you now. All y'all running your fucking mouths about, oh, they need to go back to work. Motherfucker, they at work.
We gonna do about it now.
Yeah, what you gonna do now?
They're at work and they're gonna be sitting right next to you soon at the same.
You got people starting businesses.
Yeah, exactly. So that I wanted to start with that because it's been the 20 May 25th is a mixed feelings of a day, but just to hear these good stories of people actually like hustling and like making it forward and like not going back to Burger King or Best Buy. Fuck those places. So
let's be honest about this.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we've done. And shout outs to act.tv.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And we're going to be talking about this live with you guys. But I'm one of those people, I'm not a minimum wage worker. So let's get that straight. But I use this to get my foot in the door as far as getting more experience in media behind the microphone, in front of the camera. So,
And actually
act.tv compensates me a little bit in a way where I was not getting compensated before. And again, this is, the birth, the tragic birth of Black Power Magic Hour came after what happened a year ago today. So you give Americans a year to not be, basically donating their life force to somebody else's pursuit of profits. And look at what they're able to accomplish. Look at what we've been able to accomplish here on Black Power Magic Hour, only on act.tv.
Yeah, and that's follow us on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and .tv Genius. He's live on Talking Shit on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter, and that's Dash and Bash.